In 1077, Robert Curthose went into revolt against his father, William the Conqueror. The main motive for Robert's rebellion was frustration at his father's overzealous control. Robert had been granted the Duchy of Normandy by William, but William the Conqueror, like Henry II with his sons in the late 12th century, proved unwilling to relinquish full control over Normandy, much to Robert's annoyance. Another factor in Robert's angst had been a childish dispute that had broken out between he and his younger brothers, William and Henry. William and Henry had, one day, decided to play a boyish prank on Robert and hurled the contents of a full chamber pot over Robert's head, causing a fight to break out. Robert demanded that William, the father, punish the boys, but the king was little concerned. It was, he felt, nothing more than a run-of-the-mill argument between brothers. This was a mistake. Robert was left infuriated by his father's lack of action, although it must be said that this was merely the tipping point in Robert's frustrations. He had clearly been swayed by malicious advice already, and he now prepared to wage war against his father, who, having come through a long period of rebellions against his rule in England, was perhaps ill prepared now for the shock of Robert's uprising. Robert fled to the court of his uncle, the Count of Flanders, who was the brother of Robert's mother, Queen Matilda. The unruly prince would then spend his time devoted to making frequent inroads in Normandy, which he ravaged, plundered, and where he, worse still, destroyed the people. In 1079, Robert's rebellion would come to a head with a showdown against his father. Father and son met in battle at Gerberoy, and it was here that Robert had William at his very mercy. Without realizing who it was, Robert launched a vicious attack against William, wounding him in the hand or arm and killing the king's horse from underneath him. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicles adds that one of William's servants hurriedly came to the fallen king's rescue with another horse, but was shot by a crossbow bolt as he did so. At this juncture, Robert could very easily have put William to death, but as the king bellowed to his son, Robert ceased his attack, recognizing his father's voice at last. He certainly didn't intend to kill his own father, as frustrated as he may have been with him, and it may be that William removed his helmet at this point to confirm to Robert whom he had been assaulting. Immediately remorseful, Robert leapt off his own horse and offered it to his father, allowing the irate king to leave the battlefield. However, as the king retreated, he remained absolutely livid, having seen many of his own men killed, injured, or taken prisoner, and himself just about escaping with his life, all thanks to his ungrateful son. Peace would be restored between father and son, thanks largely to the efforts of Queen Matilda, and Robert would be granted Normandy on William's death in 1087, although England, despite Robert's wishes as the eldest son, would be given to the Conqueror's third-born son, William Rufus. Even if William I had, at any point, considered giving Robert the full inheritance of both England and Normandy, then Curthose had certainly blown it with his uprising. He had shown himself to be unreliable and petulant, a man who would not have made for a good king. Robert's familial wars were not done with on the death of his father, and he would clash with both William II, whom he tried to oust as King of England in 1088, and his youngest brother, Henry, who became King Henry I in 1100 on William II's mysterious death in the New Forest. Indeed, Robert would be defeated by Henry in battle at Tonchebray in 1106, which would see him lose both his Duchy of Normandy and also his liberty. Robert was taken prisoner at Tonchebray by Henry and held captive for the next 28 years until he died in 1134, aged in his early 80s.